everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. I go by Rachel Ray here on YouTube, and today I'd like to show you how I cross stitch. I am by no means an expert, but I'd love to help you on the very basics. So, are you ready? You may have gotten a kit from a friend or family member, and inside the kit, you'll get a few basic things. You're going to get your fabric, of which this is 14 count Aida in the color Ivory by Charles Craft. A needle, which I have on a Needleminder. That won't be in the kit, but it is super helpful to have a magnet to hold your needle so it doesn't go getting lost in the couch. And then you're going to have floss and a pattern. The floss or thread may look like this. This is the DMC kind of floss, or you might have it in a bobbin like this. Either way, I'm going to show you how to take that floss off the card or out of the skein and get it ready for your project. So let's do the DMC first, shall we? On this skein, it usually comes flat, but mine's been folded for a long time. You will see that there is a tail. You're going to take the tail, and what I like to do is I like to hold onto the tail and pull it all the way to my elbow, right there. And this is where I snip. I'll show you the same thing with the bobbin. You'll have a end with a tail, and the rest of it will be all nicely wound up. So you're going to take the tail and you're going to unwind until you get to your elbow, which for me is, whoops, right here. And then take your scissors and snip. I do recommend using embroidery scissors, but for the purposes of this tutorial, those are the closest ones to me. So now we have our floss. How do we use it like this? What do we do? Well, it depends on your fabric, but if you're like me and you're using 14 count Aida, which is the standard for kits, you're going to take your floss, you're going to find the tail, and you're going to separate the tail. There are 6 strands here. Don't know if you can see them, but you're going to separate them one at a time. And typically on 14 count, you need 2. So take one end, pinch the other with your fingers, just lightly, and pull. That's going to separate a strand out. I'm going to show you again with the green. So make sure that this is straight. Oops, sorry. Make sure it's straight. Separate these. You want just one of them. And pull. Okay. And you just want to pull very, very lightly. Okay. All right, so that's separating the strands, so we're pretty much ready to go. Now, it says to use 2 strands on the pattern, usually with the 14 count Aida. So what I usually do, and I want people to know about this method, is that instead of pulling 2 strands, I just pull 1. Then I fold it over like this. I pinch the 2 ends together, and then it creates this lasso or this loop at the bottom. Then I take my strands, and it's okay if you're not a thread licker. There's different ways of looping your floss into the eye of a needle. When it's dry like this, it's hard to get it into the eye, so that's why I sometimes lick my floss. You could also fold it over and push it through the eye. I don't have very good success with that, so I don't mind telling the internet that I am a floss licker. But sometimes you can get needle threaders, and that'll do the job too. It just adds an extra step, and that's why I don't do it. That's how you thread a needle. So, are you ready to go? I'm going to show you the basics of cross stitch. So, today I'm going to do a basic shape just to show you, but you would be following the pattern as it's written, and each color has a symbol that's on the chart but let's just pretend that I'm following a pattern. First, I'm going to find the holes. You can see them when I put my hand behind this piece of Aida. And I like to make my X starting here and going across this way, and then the top leg goes this way. That's just me. You could do it the other way if you like. It's all kind of individual. Think about when you're writing an X. So I've left the loop at the top. I'm going to come up through that bottom hole. I'm going to come through the loop. See how it kind of lassos the thread. Then I'm going to go back through the first loop. Pop it through, see that? And then I'm going to cross the leg just like that. And that is a completed cross for cross stitch. Now there are different ideas of which way you should move after this, and if you're going to get very technical, you know, it might matter to you if you're trying to save on thread, but as a beginner, you don't need to worry about that so much. So I'm just going to build a basic shape with you, and I'm going to show you how I cross stitch. So this may be different for everybody, so please don't judge me. That's not what we do here. All right, let's move on. I'm going to do what's called, I just call it cross stitching. Some people call this something else. There's different methods. There's different schools of thought on this, but this is how I cross stitch. I go all the way across in one direction, and then I come all the way back in the other direction. You may be noticing that I'm using two hands. It's because I use a stand. There are lots of different embroidery stands out there for people to buy. Mine is the Elan lap stand, and I like this one because it's useful for all different kinds of hoops and snaps and scroll rods and all sorts of things. But we can get into that a little bit later, because as a beginner, that's not so important. You can do this with one hand and hold your hoop or Q-snap with the other hand, your non-dominant hand. So you can see what I'm doing here. Moving across. And this is real-time cross-stitching. I am using a size 24 tapestry needle by Bowen. I prefer Bowen needles, especially on 14 count Aida. They are not sharp. So if you're looking for a not so sharp alternative to your kit needle, you may want to get some Bowens. Right, so now you can see here that I have 1, 3, and 5 stitches. I'm going to make a heart. So my last stitch went into this bottom left hole. I'm going to come up in the bottom right to save a little bit. Actually, it's closer to go in the top left. How about that? So that's how I determine which hole to go through. Sometimes it's a matter of hiding the stitch, and sometimes it's not. I'm going to hide the stitch by completing my X like this, and then running across the bottom lane here where the other stitches are, and then finishing my X like so. But you do not have to be that precise. You really don't. And there we have it. We have a heart. So now I'm going to show you how to finish the thread. So here you can see how I finished my work. I'm going to take my needle and run it along the back side of the work underneath these stitches, just like so. Whoops, and drop my needle. Hey, real life people, it's okay. You can see I have another needle here as well. It's nice to have two, just in case. Snip that off, and there you go. That, my friends, is how to start cross-stitching. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any more questions for me, please let me know down in the comment section below. I'd love to make more videos like this, little bite-sized videos to help you to cross-stitch. Maybe you want to learn how to work a pattern, or maybe you want to know the differences between the fabrics. Please let me know and I'll be more than happy to direct you there. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye!